birth date holds information about your destiny, while you keep seeing the same number or several numbers. Welcome to Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. I am your host, King Simon. Numbers are not here to control you, they're here to give you guidance. It's time for you to be able to read the numbers. Hey family, it's King Simon, the founder of Numerovation. Remember, if you want to book a session with me and get a Numerovation consultation, all you have to do is text me your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. And if you want any of my books, go to linktree/King Simon, the Numerovator. That's King Simon, the Numerovator. And your books are available on Amazon. Remember, I'm the El Numero Uno, the Numerovator himself. And if you want to book a session, all you have to do is text me. Make sure you get my books on Amazon. I love you. Peace. So remember, our job as studiers of these metaphysical, esoteric knowledge is to help enhance people to be better. I, as a numerovator, using the numbers, or quote-unquote numerals, and motivation to get people to understand why they need to activate their numbers to be their very best self and maximize it. Because the numerals hold a frequency. And if you're willing to turn up that frequency, then that frequency can help to guide you and navigate you to a higher height that will allow you to spiral to be your best self. Must remember that. That's right. It's your brother King Simon, family. That's right. It's King Simon presents only quality people. You don't catch me with no drama and no crazy. I don't do that. I ain't into that. Just want to remind you, I got a new show that's going to be starting on Wednesday, and it's called Healing Vibes with your brother King Simon and Carrie Ann Ingram from out of Toronto, Canada. Yes, I'm crossing borders right now. I'm trying to make sure we unite the melanated people in Canada with the melanated people in America, baby, and all over the planet Earth, all 196,400,000 square miles of the planet Earth. 900, yes, that's right, that's how we doing. And remember, this coming Wednesday, our first guest will be the one, the only Empress Queen Afua will be on with us this coming Wednesday. Can't wait to have the beautiful Queen. Did y'all know that this month is Domestic Violence Month? So Queen is going to be speaking about what she's doing and what she's going to be speaking about to help out what's going on with domestic violence in our community. So she's going to be speaking in Brooklyn, I believe. No, she's going to be speaking in Harlem at Harlem Hospital on October the 5th. So we're going to promote that. So she'll be on with us on the 4th on this same production and this same channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then coming up on the night, we have Darkism Matters. It's time to heal in the dark with our beautiful sister, Rashida Shoba. Yeah, I'll be having her. She's an activist. She's an actress. I went to her one-woman play. Our beautiful sisters are doing. She reminds me of Phyllis Yvonne Stickney, who's also a friend of mine from back in the day, and Hazel Goodman, who is also friends of mine. And they all have done one-woman show. But this sister also won a defamation act. We won't talk about that person, but I'm happy that this sister won a defamation act from a YouTube broadcaster. But we will not mention that guy when she comes up. We're just going to send people who ever been gone through any defamation online. This sister can help you make the money. She won and she got money from the case. So big up to her. And anytime somebody disrespects y'all sisters, I don't care if y'all dark or light, you make sure y'all handle your business. All right, that's what I'm talking about. And don't forget, on October 15th, we have the one, the only Dr. B series coming in live and direct. You know how he gets down. He has a television show called Ask Dr. B. He's also one of the guys that used to produce music for P-Funk and all kinds of people. So I'm going to be bringing him in, and we're going to talk about that God Power seminar and workshop that they got coming up on October the 29th. So big up to them. Also, I got this beautiful Melanin B coming in. She's a comedian, a laugh yoga entrepreneur, and a laughtista. I'm going to be bringing her in on Sunday, October the 22nd. That's Sunday, October the 22nd at 11 p.m. And I also believe that morning, that day, I think I also have Selena, I said the Duke of Tears' wife is supposed to be coming on. I got to check my schedule and make sure I confirm it with her that morning. So I didn't do the flyer for that yet, but I'm supposed to have her on coming on. So I got to make sure we do the flyer for that. And do remember, I have a class called Applied Numerovation coming up, an online class. The tickets are on sale right now. That's Saturday, October 28th. Learn how to do it yourself. You don't have to keep on coming to me for these things. I keep on telling people numerology or numerovation is just like a GPS. You put in the right address, it triangulates where you need to go, and you do what you got to do. Look, if I pass on tomorrow, at least you'll be able to do it yourself. I ain't got no time for the foolishness. I like to help people do for themselves. It's not about me. All right. And then on October 29th, we got my brother, Dr. Philip Valentine, coming in. Being a woman or being a man and a woman is an experience, not a job description. That's what Dr. Phil is going to be talking about. Because we be messing up with our sisters, and sisters be messing up with our brothers. We just job descriptions when coming through that mother's womb and that man's scrotum, and that balance is all about experienced life on earth. And that's what it's about. So Dr. Phil is going to break it down from his own perspective. You know how we do. And again, don't forget, Wednesday, we start our program right here, myself and Carrie Ann Ingram from out of Toronto, Canada. It's called Healing Vibe Show. That's right. And if you want to advertise with us, please go to info@Carrie, actually it's Carrie@CarrieAnnIngram.com, and also at Gmail, but I got to change this flyer. It's kind of messy. Big up to Lloyd Strayhorn, one of the major sponsors here. Also, hit him up at Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. Don't forget Nicholas Brooklyn. If you want to book sessions, or if you want to book a workshop over there, you want to book an event in Brooklyn, it holds about 80 to 100 people. Make sure you call them and tell them that King Simon sent you. But remember, it's 10% off with all retail purchases. And if you want to fly on down with Baba Ashra Crazy Man, mention my name, and he'll talk to you and tell you what's going on and how you can get that hookup. And remember, it's 214-371-0206. I get credit for it when you mention my name. Put it like that, all right? And remember, get all my books on a Linktree /King Simon the New Innovator. You can take my classes on Udemy also. Also, I got an 8-hour class also. And remember, if you want to book a session, please text me your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. And remember, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. And like Dr. B. Series says, I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I'm thankful for my life. So I can't wait. Yeah. Oh, the sister I'm about to bring on in the next minute. Woo, loudy, Miss Cloudy. Y'all don't even understand. I am so elated. I am so excited to have her back on my show, man. She is doing great work, not only in the scientific field, but just the activism field. And on her program, she runs her own YouTube channel also, which is called, you could go to her YouTube channel right here. Here it is. That's right. YouTube / Dr. Oya Adwa Maat. That's right. You got to show her respect. And of course, you got IG at dr.maat_, and also Facebook at Dr. Oya Adwa Maat. So we got to make sure we know how to pronounce these little things and keep it moving. And don't forget, boom, this is her Linktree. So if you want to spread love through her Linktree, you got to show her love through her Linktree. And without further ado, she's not only a guest of mine, a dear person from out of the Beemore area, and an educator, engineer, education engineer, activist, co-founder of S.T.E.M. I think that's how I say it. I hope she comes in with correct. Yeah, I know. She done shook her head and said, "You done butchered that up, King." And it's the host of Truth to Power Talk with Dr. Maat on YouTube. Let's welcome on the virtual stage of King Simon Presents the one, the only, Dr. Maat in the building. You done shook her head and said, "Nah, brother, you don't do that. Please talk to me." I can't. Go ahead. Like you're muted. I can't hear you. You're muted. I'm muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was here cracking up listening to you. You didn't butcher it. You said Adwa. I said yes. He got it Adwa. Then you said it again. I said oh. Then you said Adam. I said okay. I just
she got to help me out. Please, I'm sorry.
I do sincerely, King Simon, appreciate being back on your platform. Yes, I enjoy talking to you, and when we chop it up, and you call me or I call you. And we build. I always enjoy. And one thing I love about you, King Simon, is that you're consistent. How you meet people And and I know people have good days and bad days, right?
Of course.
But when you and I connect, it's
Yeah.
like we never stop talking. I could not talk to you for a whole year, and then we connect, and it'll be just like we left off. And so,
Exactly.
just your mood, your spirit, your energy is always consistent, and it's
Yes.
always positive. And I
Yes.
appreciate that about you, King Simon. So I appreciate being back on your platform. So a
Well, thank
BB
you for coming
548 to
back.
you, a
A
BB
BB before you.
548.
A BB before you.
Yeah, a
Yes,
BB
of course.
548 to
Please,
everyone
please.
under the sound of my voice.
Give a round of applause, family. Believe that. Believe that. Believe that. She is a dear one, man. And she's a fellow Aquarian, misnomer Aquarian, because it's called Hoppy in the Hoppy Valley. But it's misnomer Aquarian. But we are fellow Aquarians here. And it's good that we're in that age. So let's have it. Real age. Not because there's an age. There's cycles all the time. There's always cycles. People understand cycles. We understand these cycles. And I'm honored to have you on, sister. And now what now that production, I messed up that production. Please
Ed Anime. So Ed Anime, yeah, Ed Anime is short for educational animation. Now I could have put like an accent over the E.
What I was gonna,
you know what I mean? Like I could have put an accent over the E, but I didn't do that because some people think that it's just anime, but look, anime but it's Ed Anime. Ed Anime Productions, which is short for educational animation.
Yeah, I just want to go. I start butchering stuff.
Oh, I do it all the time. With this Baltimore accent and this lazy tongue, I butcher names all the time. So,
and I want to thank you again for helping out with the Baba Ashra Kwesi and Mary Kwesi. It was a phenomenal event over there, man, in New York City. Man.
Beautiful.
Man, and people turned out. Some people came from Baltimore. One sister that was a radio personality came from Baltimore, who's also an Aquarian. Also, I said, okay,
beautiful.
She told me she used to work for Charlemagne the God. I said, oh, get out of here. So I let her sit down on the seat that Charlemagne gave Mr. G that owns that venue. He gave, and Wendy Williams gave him a seat, and what's his name? Nick Cannon gave the whole sound system to Mr. G. Oh,
beautiful.
They into the consciousness. They study it, man. They want to study. But I'm proud of your journey, sister. And it's not easy. Science is not an easy thing, although a lot of our ancient ones did practice science. You weren't able to build the pyramids.
Come on, teach.
You would know of Imhotep and Zosa and all these great ones that understood alchemy and science and all that kind of stuff. So I'm honored that you're promoting what you're promoting and doing what you have to do with all these websites and YouTube channels that you got. Of course, I got the MELTREK, of course, website is up here. The Conscious Ingenuity website is up here, and the Asafu training camp.
Training camp.
Big up
Absolutely.
to them also. Yes, and but let's start on your journey of why did you strive to get into science, and what is your educational background in regards to the science?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you asked this question. I didn't want to be an engineer. I wanted to go to college to be a historian. I told my mother when I graduated from Woodlawn. I graduated from Woodlawn High School. I actually went to Polytechnic and got kicked out, not because of my grades, because I was a hothead at the age of 14, 15, and I'm in there fighting, and they kicked my butt right on out in Baltimore, so they got me out of there. And so I ended up going to Woodlawn my senior year. I'm sorry, my sophomore, junior, and senior year, and ended up graduating from Woodlawn. But my plan was not to become an engineer. That was far from my plan. I love history.
Yes.
I love history. And I grew to love history after being exposed to Baba Anthony T. Browder's book, From the Browder Files. So I was exposed to that book when I was 15 years old.
That was my first book too.
Yeah, I read it and it was like, wow, okay, so we didn't, our history doesn't begin with slavery, right? Exactly. Our history, begins with greatness. And so after I got exposed to From the Browder File and then began to shout out to Baba. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at him from everyone's place. You know what I'm talking about, King Simon. What's the Baba there?
Which
Nati, Baba Nati.
Oh, Baba Nati from African World. Right.
Baba Nati. So I went down there. And after I read From the Browder File, Baba Nati put me on with the work of Dr. Naeem Akbar. And after that, I started reading, books, autobiography of Malcolm X, philosophies and opinions of the Honorable Marcus Garvey. And so I, by the time I turned, 18 years old, I told my mother I was going to go to school for Africana studies or African American studies, right? Or, and so she said, one day she came home with a magazine. And she said, no, I don't want you to go into history. History's not paying anything. She said, I want you to make some money. And so she brought this magazine home, and the top paying major at that particular time was computer engineering. And King Simon, we from that generation, the boomers. And the boomers, they said get an education, get a good job. And so my mother was, trying to get me to get some education and get a good job.
That's right.
And so she saw that the top paying job was computer engineering.
My daughter's a computer engineer. Yep.
And she heard that Morgan State University had a good program at that time, and it was one of the top programs at that time. But they didn't have computer engineering at that time. They had electrical engineering. And so my mother took me to the open house. And we sat there, and of course, they brought on upperclassmen who talked about electrical engineering and their experiences at Morgan State and all the opportunities that have been afforded to them. And so my mother fell in love with the school, and then I fell in love with the school. And so before you know it, in the fall, I was entering the fall of 1999, I was entering Morgan State as a freshman in electrical engineering. And so right now, King Simon, they do have electrical and computer engineering. But when I started in 1999, it was just electrical engineering. And so that really started me on this path of STEM. So I give all praises really to my mother, who started me on that trajectory. And so she started me on that path. And around senior year, I got offered, because I had a high GPA. And so I got offers from National Security Agency, so NSA, Lockheed Martin, Hewlett Packard. They flew me out to Corvallis, Oregon. Lockheed Martin down in Silver Spring, they wanted me. And so I had all these job offers. And I'll never forget, it was a brother by the name of Dr. Carl White, who was getting ready to retire, but he's still at Morgan. He's like semi-retired. But Dr. Carl White, at that particular time, he had a $2 million grant from NASA. And so it was a $2 million grant, and what his proposal was going to focus on was creating a pipeline from undergraduate to graduate school, right? So he wanted to increase more minorities, I guess, in the field of engineering, electrical engineering, with advanced degrees. So that was his goal.
Right.
And so he got this $2 million grant from NASA. And so he approached me and he said, your PhD material, your PhD material. And so he said, what I'll do is I'll pay for your books, tuition, and fees, and I'll give you a stipend for $1,750 every month, $1,750, give you that stipend. I'll pay for your books, tuition, your fees if you do this 5-year DEng program. So it's a Doctor of Engineering program. So I ended up starting the program, King Simon, fall of 2003, and around fall 2007, or maybe spring 2007, I was burnt out. Because I went all the way through undergrad and then jumped right into graduate school. And so I was burned out. I was like, you know what? I'm walking away from this. Walked away. And one of my advisors called me back, Dr. Arlene Cole Rose, and she said, if you don't come back, we're going to forfeit, your credits, and you're going to lose everything. So I ended up leaving for about 4 years, returning back in 2011 to knock out what's called your B exam. So I did the A exam, where you propose what you're going to do. So I submitted the proposal to my committee, and then left for 4 years. I had to take a break. Left for 4 years, then went back in 2011 and stayed for 2 years, did my B exam, where I actually defended my dissertation, wrote my dissertation, defended my dissertation, then came out in 2013 with my DEng. But I keep saying this, and I want to go back to my mother.
Of course.
My mother was very, very instrumental in me being who I am and where I am. Not only did she put me on this trajectory, right, for STEM. My mother's an educator. Okay? She worked for Baltimore City for 35, 40 years. Matter of fact, she retired and she went right back to working for Baltimore City. And so people say, why are you an educator? My mother's an educator,
of course,
right?
Of course,
my mother pushed me to go into STEM. And my mother had advanced degrees. And I remember being a child, looking on the walls in our den, looking at her degree from Coppin State University, looking at her degrees from Johns Hopkins University, and telling her, Mama, I want to surpass you in education. So what my mother did was she set a standard for me, King Simon. She set that standard for me. And so I give all praises to my mother.
Of course. Let's get out of enough respect to mom. Now, what was your father like? Did you ever?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. My
What type of
pops.
person was it?
Oh
Because
yeah,
I know you
yeah.
got another side of him. I know
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
you got
yeah. I
another
got.
role.
I'm.
You got a
You looking
side.
at him. You
I
looking at
know.
him. So that community activism that you
Yes.
see,
Yes.
that is him.
Good.
That is
Good.
my
Good.
father.
Good.
So my
Good.
father actually, he's a Morgan alumni. He
Wow.
majored in economics. He came out in like the 60s or 70s with his degree, his BS in economics. And he's a community activist, always
Right.
has been. And he gets that from his mother, my grandmother, Myrtle Bailey. So peace be upon her soul. Matter of fact, we have a recreation center in Baltimore. It was previously called the Martin Luther King Recreation Center on Mount Street, Mount, and I think Saratoga Street. My grandmother established that recreation center there. She also established an organization called Echo House, which helped Black women take advantage of social services in Baltimore City. This was during maybe the 70s, around the 60s and 70s. So that activism, that community activism, I get from my father, right? And he got it from my grandmother, Myrtle Bailey. So I'm like a one big, mixture of both parents. And that's why I said my odd is the perfect word, because I'm the perfect balance of both of my parents.
And that's why I asked the question, because I like to keep the balance.
Absolutely.
And because I could say my mother was this and that, but
Oh yeah,
I remember Dr. Africa saying, when they talk about bipolarism, we're all bipolar. We're part mother and father.
that's right.
In common sense,
That's right.
you'll say both. But when you go down the negative part of some of the energy from your father, or the negative, then they call it a disease or something. It starts getting, when you start getting radical and following down the negative portion of that bipolarism. There's even a
Right.
thing called tripolarism, which is crazy. So,
No.
but what's so funny now, because we're talking about STEM. Now, did you know that America is third in place behind China and Russia as far as
Oh,
science is concerned?
absolutely. We used to be number one. America used to be
Exactly.
America used to be number one, but not enough of us are going into
Right.
STEM. A lot of these children, they don't want to go into
They don't
STEM.
want to
STEM
quote.
STEM is very it's a very demanding field. It's
Mm-hmm.
very challenging. And in some of our youth, they take what they say the path of least resistance.
Yes.
So look, you want me to go to college? I'll go to college, but and no disrespect to anybody that has like a liberal arts degree or a business degree or whatever.
Right.
No disrespect to that. But our students will say, and I've heard them say this, Doc, y'all over there in the engineering building until the wee hours of the night. Nope, I'm gonna go get my back. I'm gonna go get my liberal arts degree or my humanities degree, my business degree, and I'm gonna call it a day. And so a lot of them, it's very challenging. It's very challenging. And then also, King Simon, I do want to say this.
Yes.
A lot of our children, particularly, aren't prepared to successfully matriculate
That part
through a STEM program. And so you figure you weren't prepared. And I'm gonna be honest with you,
yes.
I wasn't prepared. Let's be clear. When I graduated from Woodlawn Senior High School, I graduated the highest math that I took at Woodlawn was trig.
Okay.
It was trig. It was trig. And
Trigonometry.
so trigonometry. So you got to think about this.
Right.
When you go into a STEM program in a university, they expect you to be familiar. They want you to start in calc. They want you to start in calculus 1. And so ideally, at least before you get out of high school, you should have been exposed to calculus 1. But how many of us are exposed to calculus 1? We do algebra 1, algebra 2. We might do geometry.
Yep.
We may do trig. We may not. And that's it. So by the time you go and you take a placement test at a university to become a physics major or biology major, right? Or an engineer of some sort, or math major,
right?
You're placed in some remedial math course because you were never exposed to calculus. So what happens is you end up falling behind. And so instead of it taking you 4 years to complete the degree program, now it's taking you 5 and 6 years, because instead of placing in calculus 1, you placed in college algebra. Right? Or you may have placed in, pre-calculus or something along those lines, but you're behind. And then what happens to children when you fall behind. When you fall behind, some of them say, well, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to try to catch up. And others just say, forget it. I'll switch my major, or I'll drop out of college altogether. And so that's why, King Simon, it is imperative that we get our children in STEM camps during the summer. And so salute to Baba Amin of the Uhuru Academy. He and I, we created the UACI summer STEM camp. And what we're going to do, and I need to get into, and matter of fact, he and I have a meeting next week. What I'm going to do is, what we're going to do, not what I'm going to do, but what we're going to do is we're going to offer the STEM camp not only in the summer for 2 weeks, but also 1 week during the winter vacation. So when the children are out for winter break, you just bring them online with us for a half a day from 9 to 12 p.m. And they learn STEM. They do some STEM stuff, STEM work with us while they're learning about our contributions to the establishment and expansion of STEM. So, and then we're also going to offer it in April during spring break. So the UACI STEM camp will be offered 2 weeks in the summer, once in the winter, and one time in the spring. So it's important that our children get into these STEM camps so that we can strengthen their math skills, so that we can prepare them to successfully matriculate through a STEM program.
Yeah, and give that a round of applause for what you're doing. And all your websites, everybody, which website can they go and find that if they want to find out more about the
UACI. So the UACI STEM camp, I mean, you can go to consciousingenuity.com. There's a tab that says in-person events. You can go to Uhuru Academy. There's a tab on there for the UACI Academy. So you can go to uhuruacademy.com or consciousingenuity.com. Or look, you can simply Google UACI STEM camp. And you'll see Baba, and you'll see him, and you'll see myself. We'll pop up. You'll see the links and everything. But we have to get our baby. We have to start them early, King Simon.
Yes, of course.
And so another thing we have to do, and King Simon, you could stop me if you want me to keep going, because I'm
after you make that point.
I'm very passionate about this.
I know.
We had to instead of putting our children in front of iPads and televisions and cell phones where they're watching ridiculous videos. I'm talking about,
about to talk about that. That was my next
King Simon. Simon, right in the household, we need to be practicing math right in the household with our with our children. And shout out to All This Math. There's a brother named Professor Akil Parker. He just created a book called All of This Math. And what he's doing is teaching parents how to incorporate mathematics in the household. When you're driving down the street in the car and you're looking at license plate numbers, right? Asking your children, what are the sum of these numbers, right? What are the average of these numbers? Little things like that. When you're handing out slices of bread, you could teach them about fractions when you're cutting things. So how to incorporate math in our everyday life. See, we had to do stuff like that instead of buying junk. Because a lot of the times, King Simon, we give our children junk. You get Barbie dolls and cars and stuff like that. And it's not doing anything to develop their critical thinking skills. It's not doing anything to develop their mathematics skills. And so we need to get back to that, making sure that anything we give our children, anything we show our children, that is completely instructional, even when we're having fun with our children, as Baba Imhotep Fadi, you always says, it should be instructional fun.
Yes.
While they're going through these developmental stages.
Exactly. People, please remember to like, share this broadcast. And big up to everybody that's also watching on Dr. Maat's platform too, because she did share it on her platform on Facebook and on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is King Simon Presents Only Quality People. If you didn't know, now you know. That's right here. So you'll know who it is. And what's so interesting about that, what you just said, because I do that regularly, because I was very good at math until I got kicked out of school. But yet I get into studying numbers through numerology, because numerology only means the study of numbers. People get all caught up in everything. It only means the study of numbers. So any way you apply mathematics or numbers, that's all it is. It's just everybody get into this extra stuff because of what they're doing out there. But I understand that. But every time I look at a license plate, I break it down to what it equates to. But I interpret it a different way when I see these things. So when I see then I get an interpretation from what Professor Dr. Clark said in a book, Africa Counts, that there was mystical meaning behind numbers in Africa. He said it in his book at the intro of this white woman's book. Dr. Clark said it. So when I heard him, in fact, I could show the book. You know me, I start showing books. You and I start showing books. want people to be clear that I am not new to this. I'm true to this.
I'm true to this. That's right.
I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So when Dr. Clark said it in this Velasquez's book, Africa Counts, Numbers and Patterns in African Culture, that's the name of the book. So once you understand that, and our great elders have taught and that they talked about those mystical things and dealing with game boards and all that kind of stuff. That's when I said, okay, I'm gonna pursue this from another level. That's why I don't just tell people I don't do readings. I tell people I don't do that. I'm really like to advise you so you can be better with what you're born with. That's all I'm about. But what I found out in as far as science, like you said, they take the road of least resistance.
Yeah.
But it's all the distractions out there. And I remember my son failing in earth science, and I took him to the backyard. I said, look in your backyard. This is earth science. Simplicity, I brought him straight. Go to your basketball. You like basketball? That's geometry. Look at how you hit the basketball off of an angle. That's geometry. Incorporate to them. And then when I stepped into the parent-teacher meeting, I showed them, y'all need to show them how it relates. Even on your hands, there's geometry, right. There's counting, there's all of this. Why don't you do this in the school? They could not answer me, these teachers.
That's right.
So how do we, as parents or uncles or aunties or judges out there, how do we get it to let the children understand its relation to the human body?
Come on.
How do you do that? How would you do that through MELTREK? And I know you do MELTREK and all that.
Yeah. But no, absolutely. I love what you're saying. You're basically saying, King Simon, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. You're saying that, they don't understand how it fits into everyday life. Right. It's a disconnect. So they think that I'm just learning these things and they don't understand. Like you said, earth science is right in my backyard.
Right. Exactly.
Every day nature is mathematics. We got to remember that our ancestors, right, in the papyrus of Amos, remember the papyrus of Amos, our ancestors viewed mathematics as, and I quote, the correct method of understanding nature to know all that exists, all mysteries and all things secret. That's in the Rhine Papyrus. So we view mathematics as understanding nature and understanding all mysteries. That's mathematics. Exactly. Everything you do is mathematics. And so what we need to do is really reconceptualize what STEM means for the African in the 21st century, right? So when they're learning these things, right? When they're learning, we just was talking about
you, Baba.
Well, we were just talking about Baba. And look at Baba pop up. We just shouted him out and was talking about Baba.
Big up to everybody coming off of
Dr. Baba, in the building, family. We was just talking about the UACI camp.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, we and that's what I've been writing about. And Baba's aware of this, writing about reconceptualizing, what engineering means to the African in the 21st century. So what we had to do in order to do that? Right. We had to go back and understand, how did our ancestors view science? Right. How did our ancestors view math? How did our ancestors view engineering, and how did they utilize it? How did they learn it? How did they utilize it? And we had to, in the words of Dr. Karenga, rescue and reconstruct that history, rescue and reconstruct our pedagogies, or as he would say, our Sabaites, right? Our methods of teaching. We got to go back and rescue and reconstruct those ways, Baba.
That's right. Absolutely. And I respect all of what our elders and teachers have taught us. Even I have a book with Charles Finch and Dr. Charles Finch and all these great ones that was into the science. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that, people that are just tuning in, please, we have Dr. Oyama in the building. Please share. She is an education engineer, educator, activist, co-founder of the Anime.
Ed Anime, King Simon. Ed Anime Productions.
And host of Truth to Power Talk with Dr. Maat on YouTube. I want to, and make sure you go to a link tree. She's got a lot of links on link tree, so make sure you hit up.
There's like 7 of them, right? I was like, let me try it out. I want to get this link up there.
That's what you should get them all up there so people can go to war. That's why it's called the link tree.
That's right.
And I remember supporting her for the MELTREKs, which the DVD that I got from her back that time, man. Beautiful information that I gave to my children. The first time I met you, matter of fact, I bought it right there, So
absolutely,
because I believe it's important. Go to the website. It's right here, MELTREKs 365 consciousingenuity.com, and also Asafu Training Camp, of course, .com, asafocamp.com, which you got to really support what they are doing. Of course, Baba Amin was just in here, so we just seen my brother pop up and do what he had to do and show his love. There he is, and the whole family that's popping up from your platform also. Got to show them respect.
Oh yeah, appreciate that.
They love you. You're
love
looking nice, sister. You're looking nice.
Oh, thank you. Like, look, I just came from officiating a wedding.
And shout out,
yeah. Shout out to brother Cheapo and sister Danielle. They just got married.
Oh, so black love. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, I can't wait to do it again. One more time. I did it 3 times. I'll do it one more time. I'm just saying. But
I would say one more time.
One more time. Because look, I'm 56 younger, so I'm trying to make sure I go out very well.
Come on. You said this time it ain't me in the
clubs no more. It ain't me doing the foolishness. me now. The great me.
I shade of that, Baba.
That's what I'm talking about. So, and now moving forward, because this is importance of children learning STEM and more. A lot of people in the quote unquote community, I don't even like to say conscious community, don't even really support STEM as heavily as they should, as I've noticed, And I remember you calling me and asking me why didn't I go to this individual center, but I moved out of town, which I think it should be a touring thing. Whatever you do, it should tour or it should stay online where a bombardment of people should. And again, I want to tell people in the military and empowerment, because my father's a Marine, my son was a Marine, and I always used to hear the word, keep it simple, stupid.
That's right.
Keep it simple, soldier. Back to the simplicity of it so they can at least start to learn to climb the ropes into the intricacies of it. Tell the children, because I know I have a lot of children that watches me, what are some of the first steps that they can take? I know going to your website, going to YouTube channel, what are some of the first steps they can take right there and practicing science? Because even melting ice is a science.
I agree.
Boiling water is a science, but they're not taught that.
That's true. That's true. And so King Simon, earlier, remember I was talking about getting our children off of those devices, right? And we get them on devices, King Simon. I'm not saying that we can't use a cell phone or an iPad for educational purposes. We absolutely can. But what I always encourage parents to do is to buy STEM kits. Jalen would say, he will tell you, I've never bought him a toy, King Simon. Like I could bring him up here right now. He'll say, I've never. Jay, I'm wondering, is he here?
Yeah, I never bought my sons. If mothers always I bought books. Always gave them books and information. Something.
Look, I'm wondering. Hey, Jalen. Okay, he said, I'm coming. I never bought him a toy, King Simon.
Wow.
Since he was younger, Legos, playing with Legos.
My children.
That's a science, right? Yes, having them build things with Legos because that helps foster their creativity.
Yes.
Even Play-Doh, right?
Yes.
Making robots out of Play-Doh. And that's the stuff that we used to do, instead of putting the device in people's hands. Well, we didn't have devices back then. But Legos, Play-Doh, even making paper airplanes.
Wow.
Right? Making paper airplanes and folding them in a way that will allow the plane to go faster or further, right?
Let me show you something. Hold on. Let me show you something real quick. This is my son playing with Legos when they was children, right there. I had them building robots. They were building robots and houses from that. That's so. I seen these in my mother's house the other day when I was in New York. I was like, oh my god,
that's okay.
What's up, young man? How you doing? How you doing, brother?
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm Brother King Simon. She asked me to ask you if she ever bought toys for you.
She bought toys for me.
I never bought it for my children.
What did I buy you? Tell them what I bought you.
Bought me Lego STEM kits.
Yes.
Coloring books.
Yeah.
Wow.
Activity books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
She brought me to Morgan State University as well. Teach me how to build circuits.
Gotta give you a round of applause, bro. Gotta give you a round of applause. I got you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
He
Thank
said,
you.
"Thank you, brother."
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so we, those are simple things,
Yes.
King Simon, that we can do. Get them to design a robot out of Play-Doh, or a robot out of Legos, or airplanes, and paper airplanes and stuff like that. And then we can get into STEM kits. They have all kinds of kits: science kits,
Right.
math kits, engineering kits. I mean,
Right.
little ones that you can, like, affordable kits that you can get right off of the internet.
Right.
And so instead of, when Christmas comes around, or birthdays come around, when Kwanzaa, Christmas, and these different holidays come around, let's get our babies some STEM kits.
Yes.
And even they have chemistry kits. I remember my eldest sons, Harvey and Isaiah, I bought them a little chemistry set so they could experiment with creating different colors. Right. And so stuff like that, King Simon, that's the type of stuff that we need to do if we want to get our children, at least interested.
And back in the day when I used to do lectures, or when Dr. Ben used to come in at the UAM, and I remember visiting Dr. Ben at the thing, he always said, get into the sciences, and
absolutely,
he was not just the spiritual science, but understanding the science of Africa, understanding Kemet and the building science and all of the precision of how to build. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't know that I go way back with those elders and when elders introduce me to certain people and certain things, I usually follow suit with the elders. So, people like Ashra Kwesi was dropping some real serious knowledge. And a lot of people just coming into knowledge. I've been in it since I was 14. It's not yesterday. I've been in it since the 5% Nation. And even the 5% Nation helped us to think mathematically. Who was the original man? We start breaking out all these things and start knowing who was teaching us what the difference between the mathematics between Earth and the planet Earth and all the different planets from the sun. They wasn't teaching us like that in school. So I had to, when I left school, although I was good at science and math, but I got bored with the way the teachers was teaching it. I got kicked out of 3 different schools and had to take GED. Fighting Erasmus, wanting to smoke weed and go there. Even smoking weed was a science. A lot of people don't even understand. When you put fire to weed, it makes a whole new chemical reaction. When I found out, I'm like, oh, damn. So when I understood that, I'm like, wait a minute. And I don't smoke weed. I stopped smoking weed from the time I got into Islam. So I went up back in those days, and when I went into under Dr. Khalid Muhammad. So it's so important. And Minister Farrakhan, and it's so important that science is so pushed, because even in the Nation of Islam, when we was there, in the University of Islam, they had science, teaching science and math and all these type of things, and even introduced us to STEM back in those days. And a lot of people don't even realize that. So what do you say about these community centers out here that are quote unquote Black ran, but yet they're still pushing what the Europeans is pushing instead of understanding from an Afro perspective, from an Afro, from our perspective about the sciences before Europeans clouded it up and messed it all up in their own way.
Yeah, but because a lot of these, it's crazy. And I'm glad that you mentioned this. A lot of folks in the pro-Black or the so-called African, center community, they view math and science and engineering as a white thing. What? And I'm thinking, and I'm saying to myself, as much history as you purport to know, you don't understand that we are the pioneers, of science and technology and engineering and mathematics. With all of this history that you say that you don't understand that we created that. I mean, think about this, King Simon. And shout out to brother Uncle Cat. He always talks about the tools.
I have his book.
Yeah, Uncle Wes. He always talks about the tools. Brother Uncle always goes back to the caves: Blombos Cave, Pinnacle Point, and what was the other cave? Oh my goodness, it's Blombos, Pinnacle Point, and there's another cave. But he always goes back to those caves in South Africa, where that were occupied, hundreds of thousands of years ago, right? And in those caves, they found tools. So they found, weapons for hunting. They found weapons that they used. Tools to chop. The choppers, harpoons to catch fish. These were devices. These were the technology that they use, that our ancestors used to survive in their environment. So they call them bone tools. But really, if you look at it through a 21st century lens, these were devices that they created. And a matter of fact, there was an article that talked about how they had to use heat. They utilized the treatment of heat in order to form some of these tools. That's engineering right there, King Simon.
Exactly.
So all of that stuff comes out of Africa. Down to even when you think of the Nile Valley and the flooding, that was hydraulic engineering, where our ancestors dug ditches and they used to have stone walls that they would line along the river to prevent the flooding. That's hydraulics engineering. Then when you look at the pyramid of the step pyramid, or the pyramid of Saqqara, right? That was the great architect Imhotep built that. That's engineering. That's math. That's science, And so we have to understand that we are the pioneers of that. It's not a white thing.
It's not a white.
It's an African thing. It's not a white thing.
They was in the mountains. They wasn't even doing what we was doing.
They wasn't doing what we was doing.
I got books on it. I got all Iceman Inheritance. I got all of these books.
It's not a white thing. Science is white. There's no such thing as white science. Architects that all the time. Science, white math, white engineering. It's not. It's us. And it came from us, and what I think also too, King Simon, I want to add this. Organizations, and I want you all to put me on record saying this. I don't care if they quote it. I don't care if they take this snippet. Any organization, look, Simon said, any organization who claims to be pro-Black or African-centered, if they're not talking about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, agriculture, I always say is their double A in mathematics, then they're not serious about nation building. They're not serious about nation building. You cannot nation build without your scientists, your engineers, your mathematicians, your producers of technologies, agriculturalists. You can't build a nation. So any quote unquote Black nationalist group or Pan-Africanist group or pro-Black group, if you're not serious about STEAM, then you're not serious about nation building. It ain't no power. It's no Black power without STEAM power. I actually got a shirt that says that.
I like that.
Ain't no Black power without STEAM power. Exactly. And so, folks, then you said, what do I say to those organizations? I say that they're one, they don't know their history, and two, they're not sincere, not serious about nation building.
Give that a round of applause. We gonna give that a round of applause because our sister is tearing up at the place at all levels. Thank you very much for that, my sister. Thank you very much for that. Somebody just asked in the chat, does STEM degrees have the same value as it had 20 years ago? What do you say to that?
STEM degrees have the same value. Absolutely. I would say yes. I would absolutely say yes. Right. I mean, who you think are developing the new technologies that we utilize, right? Absolutely. It has the same value. And I will be honest, I would go to say that the value has increased. You want to know why? Because a lot of us don't have it. They don't have it, brother King Simon. A lot of us don't have these degrees. Only 5% of engineers and scientists are Black right now. And we're moving into a technological revolution. We're moving in 5 years, King Simon, the economy is going to be technologically based. And so if you don't have a background in technology within the next 5 years, you're going to find yourself locked out of the economy because AI is taking over right now. AI is taking over right now. Right. And so, all of these jobs that we have right now, the Amazon and stocking the shelves and stuff, they'll have robots. They will have schools. They'll have robots. They'll have restaurants that'll be automated where you just go in and you press a button and your food comes. Well, there's nobody going to be in the stores. Even Walmart. They said by 2025 or 2026, they said they plan to have all of their stores automated. Look at Tesla. You have autonomous driving cars. Sooner or later, when you call for Uber or you hit the app and Uber pulls up, it won't be anybody in it. It'll be an autonomous driving car that's going to pull up and pick you up.
Total recall.
So exactly. I mean, you get it, Simon. Like literally, it's going to be autonomous driving cars out there. So who do they need right now? People who are going to generate, create, and maintain this technology. So if anything right now, STEM degrees have more value than they did 20 years ago because the technology, the economy is getting ready to be technologically based. So the value is going to increase, has increased.
And they got drones delivering packages. And
come on. They have drones power washing. My aunt, true story, she went to, I want to say it was Philadelphia or Delaware. I have the video in my phone. I'm not going to bring it up, but she sent me a video of a guy. It was a guy operating a drone, King Simon, There was a drone that was power washing, a huge drone that was power washing the building. And when she said that to me, I said, Auntie, do you know how many jobs that drone took away? Because I said that building, the building was massive. And so I said, Auntie, it may have been about 20 men that was out there power washing that building. But now it's a single man that's down the bottom operating one drone to clean the building.
I can bear witness to that, because I used in Canada, when I lived in Canada before I brought Dr. Khalid to Canada back in the early 90s. When I lived in Canada and promoted for that event, me and my partners had a paint company, and we painted buildings. So one thing, if they could do that with power washing, they'll be power painting at the same time to do the same thing that we used to do in Canada back in the day. Those, big up to the Montreal crew. They know what I used to do at Concordia College and all that, Concordia University and all them things back in the day. Got banned from Canada with Dr. Khalid. Those who don't know, don't know. So it is what it is. I still can't go into Canada right now. That's crazy, but it is what it is. But I was willing to kill for Dr. Khalid. That's what it is. People don't even realize how deep it is, but that's what we train for, to protect ourselves and take care of lives and walk our post in a perfect manner, being always on the alert. So we did what we had to do. But Doc, before we get off, because I'm not going to keep you. You're a busy woman, and I know you got a whole week ahead of you. I know you, because you teach at what university you teach. No, I don't want you to say it if you don't have to say it. If you don't.
I just say I'm at. I'm around.
Right. Yeah, you're in Baltimore doing your thing, and I'm proud of that journey that you're doing. And so how many Black women are in STEM right now?
1.6%.
What?
Engineers, Black women make up 1.6% of engineers and scientists. And so when I graduated with my DEng in 2013, I think I was maybe like the 16th or 17th African American woman in the country to have a doctor of engineering. So a lot of us, I even tell my students, and not, I don't tell them to toot my own horn, but I was telling them to be taught engineering from a Black woman. Right. This isn't common. Typically, the people who are teaching engineering are white males.
Right.
Asians, people from India, people from India, and Asians and whites.
Right.
That's it. So to have a Black woman walk in and instruct you, that's an anomaly. It's not a lot of sisters.
Revolutionary, yes.
It's not a lot of sisters who have PhDs or DEng, Doctor of Engineering. It's not a lot.
Right. And you're instructing people in the same field.
And I'm sorry, it's 3.6% of males. It's 1.2. I said 1.6. 1.2% of engineers and scientists are Black women. 1.2%. I said 1.6 is 1.2.
Okay. And how much men?
3.6%. So roughly about 5% of us are 5% of engineers and scientists approximately are Black, right? And so of that, approximately 5%. Males, we're looking at 3.6, 3.7%. Females, looking at roughly about 1.2%.
Big up to my cousin Michelle. She's an engineer and architectural design and engineer. So, and she helped build, anybody in Brooklyn, she helped build the new wing at Kings County Hospital in Brooklyn. Those who know who she is. I'm not going to say her last name, but you just find out Michelle. Michelle. That's my cousin. So we do what we do in the family. And that engineer is so important, because I remember reading The Message to the Black Man back in the day by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he speaks on the need to have different scientists and different mathematicians, different people that's going to help guide and teach our people. And to me, you're one of those people. And that's really key, and that's really loving. And I wish that people like the Nation of Islam organization would just bring you in to speak at the University of Islam and those type of places, because those children are up here with the information.
Absolutely.
They got it. It's just that so much everything religious, you got to balance it out. I understand religion, but you got to balance things out. Teach them all the different things of life. And I'm really, really happy about what you're doing in your journey and what you're doing and all that you do from the heart. Because I've seen it in my family. I've seen midwifery in the family, and even birthing children and helping children to come in as a science.
Yes.
My aunt and grandmother was a midwife, and nurse and registered nurse throughout that. So I seen it since I was a child. You know, the sciences, even in the birthing process. So I am very much proud. Any last words you want to say to the audience before we get off, my sister?
Absolutely. I just want to implore the audience
Right.
to support the solutions. What I noticed about our people, what and Banks, you can go. He said, I wanted to take up sound engineering.
Exactly. Why
Absolutely.
not? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. A set Banks. Absolutely. Sound
Right.
engineering. That's beautiful, beautiful field. But I want to encourage people and employ people um, to support the solutions. A lot of times, King Simon, we will talk about the problem, as my grandmother would say, until you blue in the face. We would sit there, we talk. This is not right. We don't have this. We always speak from a deficit perspective, from a deficit position, right? We don't have. We don't have. Well, let's support the things that we do have, right?
Exactly.
And so you have the Uhuru Academy, right? So you have a lot of people who are dissatisfied with the school system. And so I'm with Professor James Small. If you're dissatisfied with the school system, you know what your options are? Go in there, organize parents, get on the school board, take it over. That's one option. Another option is homeschool your daggone children if you want. Say I can't do that. Well, then put your child in a independent black educational institution. Right? Support.
That's right.
Support.
That's
and
right.
so we have to support. We have to do more of supporting than talking. A lot of times we will harp on what we don't have, what's wrong. But then the people, the movers and the shakers out here are not getting the support that they need from the community that has a whole bunch of complaints. So everyone under the sound of my voice, please go to the uhuruacademy.com. If you're sick and tired of the school system, pull your children out. Call Bob on the phone and say, Bob, you know what? I heard about this institution, but you know what? I think I may want to homeschool. They even teach you how to homeschool your children, right? And I'm talking about Baba Amin and his beautiful wife, Mama, and Koyo. Also, family, we talk about Black history. Oh, look at what DeSantis is doing down in Florida. Well, why don't you go to MELTREK365.com, grab the MELTREK, grab the animated films, the animated lessons, the animated history lessons, and teach your child Black history. All you got to do is pop it in and sit your child in front of the television, and we'll do the rest. Right? If you're interested in getting your children in STEM, go to Conscious Ingenuity, consciousingenuity.com. Sign your babies up for that. Go to uhuruacademy.com. Sign your babies up for the UACI STEM camp. We have to start taking advantage of these solutions that are at our disposal, right? We got to start supporting those solutions. Also, family, make sure that you get your son, your nephew, your grandson, your male cousin, your brother, get them in the ASAFO training camp. We need to raise up a generation of warriors right now.
That's right.
Warriors. Men, I'm talking about young men who are going to stand on their square, young men who are going to stand on Ma'at, young men who are going to practice, promote, and teach the Nguzo Saba. We need to cultivate that generation. Get our babies in the ASAFO training camp. And shout out to Baba Imhotep Fadiu. So that's a collaborative effort.
I have his books.
It's a collaborative effort between Baba Imhotep and myself. And next year, King Simon, we're starting the Agoji camp for girls. So I can't wait to be one in the number next August, where I'm sitting to my left. I got the Asafos over here, and to my right, I have the young ladies, the Agoji camp of young ladies, and we're graduating all these beautiful Black children and celebrating their growth, in August at the same time. I can't wait for that. But we have to take advantage of the solutions. Let's stop playing, y'all. Let's stop complaining, and let's get to work, and let's support the solutions that are out there. That's what I want to say to our people.
There it is. I gotta commend you, and of course, Baba. Of course, Baruti, his wife, Baba Baruti, and his wife. She just celebrated a birthday, Mama Ya. She just celebrated a birth strong. So big up to all of those that are doing it wherever you are. I might not know who you are all over the world, because I know people are tuning in from England. Big up to the people in England that's also doing their thing out there, and in different parts of the world. Wherever you are, please continue and support all these websites that she has right here, all of them. The MELTREK, the Conscious Ingenuity. Go ahead, sister. What you saying?
King Simon, go in the chat. There was you should see a comment by Sister Rashamella. Her son, Zion, had just commented, and he said, this is Zion. He said, I like the Asafo training camp a lot.
Oh, there it
STEM
is.
camp was fun also. That's one of our students right
Hey,
there.
Zion, Wagwan. What's up,
Yeah,
Zion?
he's right there. He said, this is Zion. I like the Asafo camp a lot. STEM camp was fun also. So he went through both of the camps, and salute to his mother, Mama Rashamella. She drove her son from New York and stayed in Baltimore for a week while he went through the Asafo training camp. And prior to the Asafo training camp, he spent 2 weeks in the UACI camp with Baba Amin and myself. And so King Simon, I wish I had, 100 more parents like her.
No, and you will get them. You will get them. Don't worry about it. Hey, look, look. There's an old saying that I have right here, always in front of me. It says, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." You'll be all right. That's why, and that's by Lao Tzu. That's old Chinese philosophy. You know what I'm saying? So it's there. It's there. You can't rush a rose. You can't rush a tulip. You can't rush none of these plants. I see a blade of grass coming out of the concrete. You ain't rushing it. It's just gonna come when it's time. So you'll be all right. It will come at the right time. So I love what you're doing, my sisters. Thank you very much for coming on the platform.
Thank you so much.
And thank your audience for coming on. We had some fun, and I'm glad that they came on too. And and give the love to your sons and all the children, family, and all that. And one thing I do like, I love what you're saying. You always implement it to break cycles, man. And that's what I love to hear when I heard you on your platform saying breaking the cycle of all the negative and all of that. Break all the
cycle breakers. Yeah, we got to be cycle breakers.
I love that when you said that. And that made me say, that's what I've been trying to tell my children. Because, I tell people all the time, when I was in entertainment, it's just that I was chasing entertainment, and I should have incorporated my children into the end, because they was talented also. Because I used to produce talent shows and all that. And I should have just went, instead of supporting Buju's platform, and I supported Beanie Man, and I supported reggae artists instead of supporting what I had around me, because sometimes they're right there. Your talent is right there where you are in your own house.
You're not lying about that. You ain't lying about that, King Simon.
And those who know me, I've supported the Shabba. I've promoted since I was 14 years of age. I've been promoting. So 12 years of age, and I was born in a nightclub. So people don't understand that I was raised in promotion. That's what I do. And people want to blame me for being a good promoter. I'm just good at what I do. But I don't hate nobody for their little hates. So they be throwing their little slides on me, but it's all good. But I commend what you're doing, and I commend what the whole family, and what's the name came to Baba Ashraf Quaid. I think I told you Sanjetti. Big up to Sanjetti.
You said Brother Sanjetti was there. Yeah, you said Brother Sanjetti came.
He came out to show some love, and I shouted him out, and I shouted out the Amen Ra Squad. I shouted him out because that's what, and that's why. And him and Baba Quaid spoke and got it nice in, got a good talk on the side, men to men. When I seen him talking, I said, let me step over here.
You said, let me go ahead over here. That's right.
I got business to do here. So make sure Baba is paid and taken care of and go back to the hotel. That's what I had to do. So if people don't understand how to produce these things, and big up to Jabari out there. How was the event that passed? He had an event.
No, so they rescheduled. It's going to be on October the 28th. So we had inclement weather going on in Baltimore. You remember that storm?
I kept it going.
So he didn't want Professor James Small traveling from New York to Baltimore. So it's going to be on October the 28th, and it's going to be free. He's not charging anybody a dime. He just wants you to show up, and he's going to do the rest.
Beautiful, beautiful. Big up to him all the time. And thank you very much again. No shout out to Dr. Maat. Thank you, my sister. You get some rest. I know you just had a long day. Do what you got to do and prepare for this week.
Already. Thank you so much, King Simon. You take care.
Love and respect, sister.
Love and respect. Peace and love.
All right. That's our sister, man, in the building. You know what it is. And thanks for her audience for coming through. Thank y'all from Facebook, and thank y'all from YouTube, her channel, YouTube. I'm broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter also. And thanks for all my people that came out. Remember, family, don't forget this coming week, I do have a new show coming up. A new show we're starting every Wednesday. This will be Her and I show. The one, the only. Let me get this off of the front here. The one, the only Carrie Ann Ingram from out of Toronto, Canada. Oh, yeah. And we're going to be bringing in, you wouldn't believe who we bringing in this week. Let me tell y'all who we bringing in this week. Don't y'all go nowhere. I have Queen Afua coming in. Big up to Queen Afua. She's going to start off our new program, Healing Vibes with Queen of Four, because this month happens to be a National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are going to be lockside with the one, the only Queen of Four. We are excited to announce that Queen of Four, the embodiment of sacred woman, will join us on the Healing Vibes podcast, the first interview that her and I are doing together, myself and Carrie Ann are doing together, man. We keep it positive, we keep it focused, I don't put no drama on this. So if you try to throw drama at you, guess what? Drama just boomerang around and go back at your backside. I ain't into the drama. I'm into the debates and none of the arguments. People know this. This is what Queen of Four is doing in New York, October 5th in Harlem, where she's going to be the change, detox your life, and save this generation of sisters and daughters and mothers and all of that. So Queen of Four is going to be speaking at the Domestic Violence Month and Day of Harlem and Healing. She's going to be there October the 5th over there at 506 Lenox Avenue. So if y'all going to be over there, so go to queenoffour.com, queenoffour.com. Then we have another melanated sister coming in on my show on Sunday. I have Rashida Strober coming in Darkism, aka Dark Skin Women's Revenge. She did that whole play. I went to support her for her play, and we got Darkism Matter. It's time to heal in the dark. And then we got Dr. B Sirius coming in, man, talking about God Power Part 2. And we're going to talk about it on October the 15th. That's going to be a big. And then on October the 22nd, I also believe that I'm going to be working with Asir Dukatir's wife, Selena. But that's going to happen in the morning, and this is going to happen in the evening. I got to do the flyers for that. I got to talk to her. Melanin B will be in the building, comedian and laugh yogi, entrepreneur, and much more. La Fista. She'll be in the building. She's going to be with us. And of course, y'all know I got a big online webinar coming up on the 28th of October. Only 50 to maybe 100 people is allowed on this. It's called Applied Numerovation. Learn how to use your numbers and guide you. People may say whatever they want to say, but I have seen proven results, because if you're going to study any type of science, any type of way, it has to be repetitive. You have to be able to observe it, and it has to be measurable. And I've seen it over the many years that I've been doing numbers or numerology. Whatever people think, that is you not being willing to open to the spiritual side of who you are through the mathematics. That's you. So you keep that to yourself. Then I got Baba Phil Valentine coming in the building. And we're going to be talking about being a man and a woman is an experience, not a job description. A lot of us got it confused out there. Coming through in this planet, on this realm, is an experience for all of us. It's not about you. This is your job to do this, and this is your job to do that. It has become that way over years, but it's an experience that you're supposed to enjoy and complement each other like yin and yang and work it out with each other. Man and woman. I'm not talking about this and that and whatever new things and new genders they're creating. I'm not with all that. I'm talking about man and woman definitive functions. I'm talking about, and that's what Dr. Phil Valentine is going to talk about when he come here. All right. And remember, Lloyd Strayhorn is one of my sponsors. Big up to Lloyd Strayhorn. I had to clean house. I don't have that many sponsors like that no more. But if you do want to advertise, we are looking for advertisers when y'all ready. You know what I'm saying? We are looking for advertisers. You can email us. I got to change this. I'm going to erase that particular one because I got to change that. But if you're in Brooklyn, New York, or you rent out this venue, Nicholas Brooklyn, all you have to do is call them at 718-858-4400. That's 718-858-4400. And remember, 10% off with all retail purchases. I do events over there also. And make sure you contact Baba Ashwa Kwesi at 214-371-0206. Tell him King Simon sent you, and I get the credit for it, man, and he'll show me some love. That's how we do. And remember, if you want to buy any of my books, go to Linktree/King Simon the Numerator. You want to take any of my classes, the one on Udemy is up right now. It's one of the highly rated courses right now. Go to Linktree/King Simon the Numerator. If you want to take my 8-hour course, go to King Simon/King Simon the Numerator, Linktree/King Simon the Numerator. If you want to do a session with me, I do not read people. I want to be very clear. I consult you and advise you on how to use the numbers that you're born with and the name that has a frequency that you can use for yourself. That's what I do, because the study of numbers, numerology, is applied mathematics. Learn how to apply the numbers, and they will guide you. Remember, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. And remember what Dr. B. Sirius says: I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I am thankful for my life. And I'm going to close out with one of the greatest metaphysical teachers in the world. He says, please, universal creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth in your love now. Thank you, Dr. Blair, for all that you've offered. And I'm going to close out in the great words of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and Maya Angelou. Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, "Up, you mighty nation, you could accomplish what you will. One love, one aim, one destiny." Dr. Khalid says, regardless of land, label, or language, they are but one God, and we are all saints, saviors, soldiers, scholars, healers, and killers. And Maya Angelou always used to say, "And still we rise." Family, continue to rise to the top. Stay rising to be your very best. Don't let nobody discourage you. Don't let nobody if people are trying to throw negativity at you, make it a boomerang, make it flip around them, dodge and bob and weave like we do in the dojo on the boxing ring, and go around it and keep it moving. Don't let nobody hit you with no negativity. I ain't got no time for negative people. Like the song says, we're going to leave the negative people way behind me. We're going to leave the negative people way behind us. Please, please, please. I'm going to leave those negative people way behind me because I ain't got no time for your foolishness. Leave me alone. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening, people. One love. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed.
Did you ever wonder if your birth date holds information about your destiny? Why you keep seeing the same number or several numbers?
Welcome to Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. I am your host, King Simon. Numbers are not here to control you, they're here to give you guidance. It's time for you to be able to read the numbers.
Hey, this is King Simon. Remember, make sure you go to my website, kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com, or Linktree at King Simon the Numero Beta. Get all 4 of my books, and of course, that's the Numerovation for Mental Stability. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numbers are simple, children's health is important, and no promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. Make sure you get them now on all my links. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. Go now.
Some people think that this esoteric knowledge is for the rich and the powerful, when in actuality, the so-called 85% has a spark in them that if it is sparked through numerology, astrology, motivation, whatever, it will raise them up from an 85%, maybe to a 10%, and eventually they become the 5%. Poor or prosperous righteous teachers. You gotta understand that this knowledge is not just for one class of people. We gotta get out of the class.